with plenty of players getting paid. But there are still some notable players available. Several restricted free agents are still waiting to get a deal done, including the Warriors' Jonathan Kuminga. We have talked and heard a lot about this. For more on Kuminga, our Warriors reporter Anthony Slater joins us now on NBA Today. Anthony, where do these negotiations stand now that we are halfway through August?
Well, there's been renewed conversations between the two sides. There's dialogue, but as y'all know, talking doesn't necessarily equal movement. They've shared contract concepts and opinions about the whole thing, between each other this last week, dating back to last weekend. But, Kuminga wants more of a player-friendly deal, more of a signal of that he's a building block, not just a trade asset. The word I've heard from the Kuminga side is pawn. He doesn't want to sign this 2-year, $45 million deal with a team option where he is clearly just being used to be traded mid-season. That's not something he wants to sign up for. Now, if you're talking about a 3-year deal, if you're talking about something with a player option that shows him a little bit more commitment, that's something he'd be interested in. But as of now, the Warriors have been hesitant to do that. And because of that, Kuminga is signaling to those around him that he's very willing and prefers the qualifying offer over the 2-year, $45 million deal. And that's dangerous for the Warriors. They can try to call his bluff, but right now, it seems to be trending towards the qualifying offer.
Well, it's not just that this situation is happening with Kuminga, it's that it's halting any other off-season moves that the Warriors could make. So what's their plan to fill out the rest of that roster?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same name we've all been talking about for, 6 weeks now,
right.
7 weeks.
Yes.
Al Horford, he's clearly ticketed to be their starting center if that gets wrapped up. DeAnthony Melton is a name that they like. Seth Curry. Their second-round pick, Will Richard, is a guy expected to potentially be on their roster. Gary Payton II. But again, as you mentioned, they are all waiting for Kuminga. But from my understanding, from what I've heard, they're aware of the situation. They're aware of the complexities, and they're comfortable in this holding pattern because training camp is still a while away. But I will say, August is a lot easier for people to just be like, okay, we'll get to you when we get to you. September's where it starts to get a little bit more uncomfortable in this entire situation. And that's where, I don't know if there'll be movement or a little bit more angst on the Warriors or Kuminga side, but September is where this could get a little bit, dicier. So
here's the basic question. What do you think happens next?
Yeah, again, unless the Warriors are willing to up their offer or reopen sign and trade conversations, which they've shut down to this point, people can question whether Jonathan Kuminga will willingly not take $14 million more, and take the 2-year, $45 million deal. But you talk to people around him, and he's pretty dug in. Like, if this is going to be the best offer, if 2 for $45 with the team option is going to be the best offer, he will see them in training camp on a $7.9 million expiring qualifying offer, which includes a no-trade clause, because he wants either to be viewed as more of a building block, or he wants his freedom, his control of his future. And the qualifying offer, while less money, gives him control of his future.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to give. Thank you so much, Anthony, for the information. I'm sure we'll be seeing you again here soon. The Warriors have had a tough stretch to start the season as they are on the road for 12 of their first 18 games. That's the most road games in the NBA for the first month of the season, but that didn't stop Steph. When asked if they can win a championship, here he is with ABC's Larry Beal.
Can 3 guys over the age of 35 really contend for a championship?
We're going to find out. I think we can. There's a level of know-how. I think what we did last year, it was last third of the season after the trade deadline, when we were top 3 in the league, both offense, defense, all the metrics that show we were a really good team. Obviously, we have to stay healthy, get through the regular season at a high level. But I like the identity that we have and the foundation of knowing how to play together, towards the end of last season, that we can hopefully translate to this year. So I know we're gonna get that question asked a lot because of the age, and this is something that you haven't really seen before. But that's the beautiful challenge of this game.
So the lack of moves don't seem to bother Steph. He seems incredibly confident in the Warriors' ability to win yet another championship. Mark, is this situation something? Is it nothing? Is it everything, considering the fact that the Warriors have nine players on their roster right now?
I'm going to say everything, and maybe I'm too close to it because I live in the Bay Area and I can't go anywhere there without somebody asking me about JK and what's going to happen. I mean, you got several people just waiting to get their deal done. Several people waiting to get settled, waiting on JK. I'm hearing Dunleavy's talking to his agent on a regular basis, and somebody's going to blink. And ultimately, I feel like the Warriors going to have to blink to get it done. doesn't make sense to sign him to a 7.9 one-year deal because you need the asset, and I think JK and his people know that. But also, JK's made $24 million in his career so far. It's a lot of money to turn down. There's a line in the movie Boomerang where you say, "Take the money, fool." I think ultimately he's going to have to take the money, not call him a fool, but take the money. And like Paul George, you figure out the rest later. But if somebody trades for him, they trade for him because they want him.
Yeah, and that hasn't happened yet. I mean, they've had great offers for Kuminga over the years. And they could have had Alex Caruso on their team a couple years ago if they would have been willing to part with Jonathan Kuminga. The thing that's hard for me, I think is nothing, because I think he's going to be on the Warriors, and the only question is how much are they paying him? I think there's an easy solution here, which is that the Warriors give him an extra year. It'll be like a 2+1 where he has a little more control over his career, a little more guaranteed money. And I do think the Warriors see him as somebody who's, if he wants to call it a building block, I don't know if I would call it that, but somebody they want around for a long time because they have 35-year-olds on their team. And I know the owner, Joe Lacob, has told him this. That he loves Jonathan Kuminga. He's the reason that they have never included him in trades, because they see the potential in him. But the question is not whether he's going to be back, but what kind of attitude is he going to have? If it is he's been spurned and he's got a bad attitude and he's going to sit on the bench, that's not going to help them. But they didn't really use him that much once they traded for Jimmy Butler. It was sort of Jimmy or Kuminga, and they went 23-7 when they traded for Jimmy towards the end of the year. So I think Steph's right. I think they can contend.
So Ramona, you say it's nothing. Mark says everything. Udonis Haslem, you say it's...
I'm not going to overreact, but I think it's a little something. But I'm going to say this right now. I've been in this league a long time, and if you have Jimmy Butler's heart, you have the IQ of a Draymond Green, and you have the greatness of Steph Curry, and also the experience of Steve Kerr, then you got a chance on any given night against any team in this league. But what you don't have is the youth and athleticism that Jonathan Kuminga possesses. So they need a guy like that. If it is not Jonathan Kuminga, then another guy that can be a Swiss Army knife, that can guard multiple positions, and that can get up and down the floor and go vertical from time to time. They need a guy like that. So if it's not Kuminga, then they need another guy like that. But I'm inclined to say, try to make this situation work. But I'm looking around, I'm looking at the Chicago Bulls, and I'm looking at the Golden State Warriors, and I'm saying, Josh Giddey looked like a guy that could fit great over in Golden State, and Jonathan Kuminga looks like a guy that possibly could fit good in Chicago. I remember reading an article just a little while ago where Josh Giddey's father said that there was interest from Golden State in Kuminga, but OKC took him at 6, and they said that Golden State would take him at 7. So I'm just saying, this might be a solution. I'm no GM. This might be above my pay grade, guys, but this might be a solution to some people's problems.
You're in the front office.
Ramona.
I think Josh Giddey's looking for a deal that's more like $30 million a year, and the Bulls are around 20. I do think that you make a very good point, UD, that he would fit the way the Warriors play. He's a smart player. He moves the ball. He would fit really well into that offense, and he's tall, and he gives them some size. You can play him as a defensive 5 if you want with Josh Giddey, even though he's a point guard. So I think he would fit very well there, but I don't know if they're going to meet his price point either, because they obviously are restricted in what they can pay him based on the other salaries they have for their vets.
Well, whatever they do, it's going to be on national television.